Long-awaited Diablo 4 has just released, and after finishing the campaign myself, and with close to 500,000 total viewers live on Twitch, I can definitely say that this is the superior way to enjoy the game. Watching it, not playing it yourself. Allow me to explain. After not following the development, beta, or anything beside the released cinematics, I decided to jump in with the Digital Deluxe Edition for only $20 extra, bringing the game to $90 US, which allowed me to play a couple days early, and a couple days is all that you need to experience this game. That's it. I finished the campaign in what I believe was about 20 hours with a level 40-something sorcerer on World Tier 2, which was the hardest option available for a new character, excluding, of course, the hardcore permadeath option. At this point in my Diablo 4 character's story, I'm left asking two questions. What in the HE double hockey sticks am I supposed to do now? And why would I even want to? I'll admit, I'm not the biggest fan of ARPGs, but I do like the Diablo series and the lore, and after completing the campaign, I'm left with a feeling that can only be described as, where's the beef? Diablo 4's gameplay didn't really offer much of a challenge beside clicking more than a dolphin telegraph operator, with my combat strategy revolving around using all my cooldowns as soon as they're up, then right mouse buttoning until the cooldowns are ready again. Each battle either being over before it gets interesting or taking so long that it really becomes boring. There really didn't seem to be any happy medium here, and certainly in no part of the game did I really have to think about how to approach an encounter apart from my aforementioned strategy of rolling my face on the keyboard. I think in total I died about 4 times over my 20 hours, twice to the final boss and twice to random enemies that surrounded me and exploded because I was looking at my second monitor to keep me busy while I waited for the next story beat. I think that's really Diablo 4's greatest weakness, is just that at no point in the game did I feel challenged or presented with a situation that I had to think of a solution, and because of that I never felt the corresponding reward of a job well done. Early game, I was somewhat positive about the story, and I definitely enjoyed the mystery of what Lilith was up to and the mysterious wolf character who turned out to be exactly who I suspected it was. I kept playing because I wanted to see where the story would go, but these plot points were few and far in between. Side quests and dungeon bosses weren't particularly interesting or memorable, and that might be because I realized early on that it's basically pointless to do any of the side quests with Diablo 4's level scaling. So you might as well just go straight for the main campaign and nothing else, which is what I started to do from the beginning of Act 2. One of the things that Diablo is famous for is the epic loots, which, because of my story-based strategy, I didn't really receive much of, upgrading my character infrequently and never receiving that dopamine rush of finding a new epic weapon to try out. I guess I could have gone looking for these, but why would you bother if the levels scale the way that they do? The acts themselves didn't seem to be very well defined or distinct at all, and without an epic conclusion or big bad or even just a nice little cinematic reward, they kind of blend together, so until you get to hell, you might as well have just been in Act 1 all along. The only 2 fights that really made me feel something were Astaroth and Lilith. I can barely even remember any others, which is somewhat disappointing since you do encounter the lesser evils of Andariel and Duriel. Duriel in particular was a letdown as he sort of just shows up, says nothing, refuses to elaborate, and then leaves. Very disappointing since I do remember him slaughtering me as a child many times over, to the point that looking for bail sends me into fits of PTSD. The only thing I can imagine D4 Duriel saying would be looking for
a better game.
I think many players are going to find themselves in my position. Finishing the game before level 50 means that you'll need to grind out another 8 to 10 levels before you can find any new loots, experience hell tides, and increase the difficulty. But I have to ask myself, what's the point? What motivation is there to grind out to level 100 if you're not going to be one of the first 1,000 people that will get their names written on Lilith's titties? I mean, the big bad is dead at this point. Go home, we won. I guess some people do enjoy the grind in this style of gameplay, but it isn't really something that I'm interested in. Typically when I play games I use a system where I expect to get approximately 1 hour of enjoyment for every dollar I spend to consider it worth the purchase. And will I get 90 hours out of this game? Unless something changes, absolutely not. I do feel like they were trying to recapture the essence of Diablo 2 in this game after D3 wasn't as well received as they might have hoped. In place of the quirky Nephilim characters that had more personalities, you essentially just play a blank slate character and project yourself on, which can be a good thing for immersion, but without the epic characters or encounters to fight against, this just makes this game a little bit forgettable for me. Which isn't to say that the game didn't have things I enjoyed. The cinematics were great for what we got, the gameplay itself was fine. It seemed to lag a little bit for me in cities, which might be on my settings, but might be related to the game being always online, since I didn't seem to get any lag outside of the towns or in the world or any of the dungeons. Ultimately, the gameplay wasn't anything special, it was the epitome of it's fine, I guess. Lilith was a good character, and by good, I mean she literally did nothing wrong. I'm still somewhat confused on why we're even hunting her in the first place. Team Demon Mummy for sure. But those small bits of bacon in this salad of a game that make it enjoyable are just so few and far in between, and that's why I recommend anyone interested in this franchise to not buy this game. Just find a YouTube video that has all the story beats and cinematics boiled down into like a 30-minute experience and save yourself the $70, $90, or $100 that they are asking for this game. And that's the price before you even take a look at the in-game shop and all the extras that will be pumped out to keep Bobby's newest yacht afloat. Diablo 4 lives up to its name by delivering a 4 out of 10 experience.